Folks, it is a great day to talk hockey. So let's get at her. The biggest question mark for Montreal going into the season will be who centers the second line. Last year, despite missing the entire 2023-24 season with a serious knee injury, Kirby Dach was shoved into the position, and his minus 21 mark through the first 24 games was a clear indication that he wasn't ready to take on such an important role after missing so much time. Will Canadians try to do the same thing to start the 2025-26 season? I'm not sure it's the best idea, and it certainly wouldn't be fair to Dach to trot him out every game at center against the other team, one of the other team's top two lines. Not to start, at least. As I noted in a recent scouting report on Zach Bolduc, there is a common supposition that second line centers have to be high point producers for a team to contend. Yet, when you review the rosters of recent Stanley Cup winners, we see that the second line centers were Sam Bennett, Chandler Stevenson, Anthony Cirelli, and Braden Shen. None of them were high regular season point producers the years that their teams won cups. The most common trait among all of them is that they are standouts defensively. So I would like to see Oliver Kapman get a serious look on Montreal's second line with Ivan Demidov and either Patrick Laine, Kirby Dach, or Zach Bolduc. So I decided to go have a look. I mean, I've been watching him for 3 years now, and I've always liked him defensively, but I had a good look at a couple of his playoff games in Laval this year, and did some video that I'm going to show to you, which I think demonstrates to a certain degree why he's already sound defensively, and that if he ends up getting a shot at the second line center position, that he wouldn't be a terrible choice. Let's roll some video here of some of his plays just to kind of demonstrate just how sound he is defensively, and we'll get a better idea here of what I'm talking about. Now, here he is. I like how he fought back here, won the draw back. He's a decent. I mean, like any young centerman, he's got to keep working on his draws, but there's good potential there with his draws. Here, you look at him back into the play, right? He's good, really good back checker, decent speed, and he works hard to get back into the play. Here you look at him supporting. He's great at supporting his defenseman, and that's such an important part of being a good two-way centerman. Here he is again, getting back into the play. What I love especially about him is that you'll see that he's always between an opposing player and the net. He stays in position constantly. He's almost always in good position. Here was a nice circle back. Look at him. What's he do there? Engstrom came up into the play. He goes back, covers for the defenseman. Then a great pass over to Reinbacher on that play. Here he is. Great defensive positioning again. In fact, he's ahead of the defenseman. But look how he keeps the opposing player, centerman, between him and the net, right? The centerman is not between him and the net. He is. Sorry. Here he is going to the net. He's not afraid to mix it up. He doesn't mind, exchanging a few blows here and there. Another part of the game I like. There, great play to get the puck over to the defenseman when the other team was pressing. Here he is with the puck. This is the one goal against in the two games. You really can't fault him on that. He made the right play to Trudeau, but Trudeau missed the roundabout, went in the net. I had a look at all of his goals against in the playoffs, and none were direct fault of his. He's rare that you see him really make a poor mistake. There again, supporting the defenseman, good on the rush. I like how he really bursts out of his zone quickly to help support a rush in 3-on-2s. Here's another good defensive play. Look where he is. His positioning is impeccable in the defensive zone 90% of the time. And again, keeps the guys with the puck to the outside, right? Doesn't let them get to the net because his positioning and smarts and anticipation are all excellent. Another great play by him kept the guy from getting towards the net, and then supports the rush and gets the puck in deep. Another smart play. You just what you see with Kapanen is smart play after smart play, and it's there was a really nice see how he had the poise to hang on to the puck, made a little move, and then got it to the defenseman, and there was a nice 4-on-2 rush. Here again, supports the play, gets to the puck, causes turnover, but then he's the third man deep. He's always back. If there's two, if his two line mates are deep, he always moves back. And there again, what did he do when the defense moved up? And it was Logan Mailloux fell back, fell back into his spot. Typically, it's a winger like we're taught when we're kids. You know, winger drop back for the defenseman, but he often times ends up being the guy that covers for the defenseman because he's aware of it. You know, you don't want if a defenseman rushes with the puck, somebody should fall back for him. And oftentimes when Kapman's out there and the defenseman pinches or makes a rush, oftentimes he's the guy that gets back because he's just so aware defensively. Now, that was a game against Cleveland in the playoffs. Here we got a game against Rochester. And another solid. I'm only showing the defensive plays. He had some good offensive plays, but look, we're gonna move that back a bit. But here he is. Uh, here I love how he's the defenseman pinches. He's back, cover farm. You know, a lot of times the centerman's not, and then he makes a great outlet pass. A lot of times when the defenseman pinches on that play, there's a break going the other way, but Kapanen recognized, hey, I should get deep here, and that's exactly what he did. Here he is again, supporting the defenseman, gets the puck, gets it out, safe play, smart play. Deep. Look at him here. He ends up actually being the defenseman on this play. Holds positioning because the defenseman was up a bit. Takes the man out in front of the net. Perfect defensive play. Here he anticipates that the puck's going around. He gets to it, keeps it in. Again, causes a turnover there. Good chance for the Rocket on that play. Here again, make sure that the puck gets through. He 3 times, I think it might be on this play that he cross checks the opposing player, and you'll notice that he here he goes again. Yeah, it was 3 times on that shift that he gave the guy a little cross check, but not hard enough that it was a penalty. Just hard enough to let the guy know, hey, I'm here, and I'm going to be a pain in the ass. Here he anticipates the play, gets in deep, almost causes a turnover. Good anticipation, good forechecking. See how he went deep there off the face-off, comes back, supports the defenseman, always supporting the defenseman, but then make sure he's up into the play well enough to keep it in the zone before it gets out, and then back. Right, he's the guy back. He stops the rush going the other way because excellent positioning. Here again, just a little play, but he anticipated that the guy would come in from the point, covered perfectly. Here, Good back checking again, and harassed the guy with the puck. Almost stole it with he tried to knock it out of the air. Here he does, I believe, knock it out of the air. So, yeah, right here. And then he gets the puck. Check this out here. The defenseman's not even in the zone, but he got it back to him. He had no other smart play, and that was the smart play. And again, he made it. He just, I really love his hockey sense. And here he scores. Actually, there's an offensive play, but it all was all predicated by him making a smart defensive play earlier. And here he, you know, nice back checking again, forces the Rochester player to give up the puck, and Montreal. Laval went back the other way. So it's they're nothing earth shattering in any of those plays. It's not sexy, whatever you want to call it, but it's just in those two games he had no poor plays defensively. Every every play that he made was smart. So very, very impressive all the way around. Now, uh, you know, I would like to see Kapman really get a serious look, like I was saying on the second line with Demidov and either line A, Doc, or Bolduc. From a face-off perspective, having Bolduc on a line with Kapman and Demidov, and Doc centering line A and Newhook may make the most sense to start the year. Like, that's if they don't trade for a centerman, obviously. But Newhook and Bolduc both shoot left, so they could take draws on their strong sides to help insulate Doc and Kapanen. Doc and Line A starting the season matched up against other teams' lines would take pressure off both defensively because I mean, let's face it, um, Doc Doc shouldn't be thrown to the wolves, I don't think, right away, right? I mean, last year it didn't work, and they can't get off to a slow start like they did last year. Lightning's not going to strike twice and make the playoffs after Thanksgiving being in last place or whatever. That's rare. It's not going to happen 2 years in a row. They got to get off to a good start. One might argue that Demidov, Bolduc, and Kaplan are too young. He's speaking of being thrown to the wolves. They may be too young to be given such an important role to start the season. And that would likely be the main reason why Marty will look at other options. But the key to the effectiveness of any second line rests on the shoulders of its center. And after watching Kapman closely for the past 3 years, playing against men, I think he can handle a role, especially playing with two such talented young line mates who are by no means poor defensively either. Like Kapman will turn 22 this summer and have 3 years of pro experience. Anthony Cirelli in Tampa's first cup winning year was the club's second line center. And how old was he? He was 22, and he only had 2 years of pro experience. So Kapman's already more experienced against pros than Cirelli was when he was the second line center on a cup winner. So that's not to say that Kapman will be as good as Cirelli, who played for Canada at the Four Nations Cup last winter, but he has similar hockey sense and defensive abilities. Cirelli is a fierce competitor and great on faceoffs, but Kapman is no slouch either in those departments. So Demidov is going to need a center who can protect the middle and stay back when necessary, with Ivan trying to create his offensive magic. It would be best for Demidov not to be paired with a center who thinks offense first and curtails Demidov's offensive creativity because Ivan has to worry so much about his defensive responsibilities. Kapman is excellent at reading the play and hanging back when his line mates are deep in the offensive zone, as I just demonstrated. That's exactly what Demidov needs right now at center, and one of the reasons why he ended up playing games in the playoffs with Jake Evans. One may suggest that it should be Evans who plays in the second line center spot if defense is so important, but we know that Evans's offensive capabilities are limited. Kapanen's offensive upside is often underappreciated because he's been playing in Europe for the most part. He finished top 4 in points per game at only 21 years of age in the Swedish Hockey League. That is a rare achievement and a strong indication that he has untapped offensive potential at the NHL level. In his NHL starts, he played limited roles, mostly on the wing, with fourth-line mates for the most part. That wasn't the case in the SHL, and he flourished. So put him on a line with Bolduc and Demidov, and who knows? Maybe he puts up 40 points like Cirelli did at the age of 22 while playing a solid role defensively. I would argue that he has at least as much offensive upside as Cirelli, whose highest output in the OHL in any season was 64 points. Often, it is all about opportunity with smart centermen. Would Patrice Bergeron have been a 60-point scorer each year if he wasn't playing with Pastrnak and Marchand? Probably not, but he was, and he became one of the best centers of his era. So again, not saying that Kapanen is the next Bergeron, but similar type player in a lot of ways. I know most Hab fans aren't likely to agree with me. The Kapman could be the answer at second line center, and I get it. He failed to score in 18 games with the Canadiens last season and only picked up 2 points. But I look at the Canadiens roster today, and unless they trade for a top 2 center or Beckout plays him in training camp and gets a look in that spot, I'm not sure there's a better option. Training camp should be fun, and I look forward to some healthy competition.